A few bills came across the table today at the state capitol relating to water crisis projects, management, and more. KX News' Adrian Oglesby has more on one in particular.
Let's look back to this summer. The Red River Valley Water Supply Project headlined KX News due to the controversies with easements, eminent domain, and lack of communication. The project is designed to avoid a water supply crisis like the 1930s drought. In 1934, the Red River had zero flow for about 5 months in a row. Now we are seeing a Senate bill that hopes to remove much of the surrounding issues.
At this point in time, the way it's written, it defines liability primarily and directs it towards the state, as opposed to the Garrison Conservancy District.
Neutral testimonies were heard, which were mainly in concern as to who would be responsible. There is a risk management fund for the project, but it does not cover what landowners are stressing about.
It raises important questions as to whether this would be an impermissible diversion of federal monies for an alternative purposes. The other point I would make is that the Risk Management Fund is not actuarially determined to deal with that currently. To deal with the next biennium, changing what the Risk Management Fund is responsible for changes the underlying assumptions that the actuaries have used. So it really sets up the potential problem of the fund not having enough funding for its potential exposures.
Garrison Diversion's General Manager Dwayne D. Cray stood today on his summer argument that all land will be restored to as close to normal conditions as possible. There will be little to no damage.
For one thing, we're not purchasing the land. It's an underground utility. So whenever we put that in, their land is all still available to them. So what's their land worth now and what's it worth after the pipeline goes through? It's basically the same. And so the $13.50 an acre is basically an inconvenience cost because they're going to be able to use their land for whatever they were using it before.
Landowners still do not agree.
Our township budget is very tight, and the amount of dirt that they're going to have to remove to put the pipe in and the amount of product that they have to bring back in to pack their pipe, it's going to literally destroy the roads, and we haven't heard anything on compensation for the townships.
So who owns the project, and why is eminent domain even an option? These questions and so many more swarmed the room as Dwayne D. Cray was asked to come to the stand for a second time for clarity.
We own the easements. It's in statute. Garrison Diversion owns the project. It's in conjunction with LAWA. We've been working on this for a couple of years. We held 2 public meetings. We had several people there, so I mean we have met with them. You have to set a time sometime when you're going to go to eminent domain. The pipeline's coming down and the state is funding us, and we have to stay 2 years ahead of where the pipeline's going to be because we have to have that easement when the pipeline gets there. So I don't think the state wants to give us $200–300 million to build a pipeline, and then the pipeline stops at some owners while we spend 2 years trying to get an easement on it.
So it seems as if the committee just wants a little more clarity as what the bill plans to do in its language. This plans to be solved within the next week. Reporting for KX News, I'm Adrian Oglesby.
The price on the project for landowner easements comes from the cost of land in 2009. DeCray says this is so all landowners pay around the same amount.